Good morning, hello guys, Scott again, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I said this in the previous video about the Focus, previous two maybe, I can't actually remember, but the horn isn't working. It's been confirmed, it was only my suspect. The car alarm went off in one of these many storms we had and just kept going off, and because I wasn't around close enough to stop it, and it burnt out the horns. So today we're going to change them. That's what this video is, as you can see by the title. Not very well hidden, but essentially I had it booked in with a garage to get this done, and I sent it to the garage, and then I got a phone call an hour later saying that because horns from Ford are £55 plus VAT, so you're looking at, what you're saying, like 66 quid, like 132 pounds just for two horns. Bit annoying of a little thing to happen because of car alarm going off. But so they bought ones which they thought should fit, but were like alternatives, non-genuine. I can't remember exactly what they said, but then they looked at the contacts, looked at the connectors on it, and didn't think they were going to fit just by looking at it. So they didn't actually take the bumper off or get it up, or they just sort of unplugged the old ones and looked at them and were like, yeah, these aren't going to fit. So phoned me, so what do you want to do? It's this, and I was like, right, here we go. So I'm doing it myself. The plan always was to do it myself, but then being busy with work and not getting the time, and the fact that this MOT for the Focus is due very, very shortly, so I've had to postpone that. So I'm going to have to use a green Volvo for work next week. So you might get another video out of that, for those of you who like the Volvo. But that's what today is. I'm changing the horns. I bought two off a vehicle recycler, like on eBay, and I've bought parts off them for the Volvo before, and they're honestly, they're fantastic people. I'm not paid by them, not sponsored, not that they're whatever, but I just genuinely feel like I should shout them out. So it's called Gala Motors on eBay. If you need any sort of like just parts, like see if they've got it, because they essentially just do vehicle recycling. So these have come off I think a Focus ST and Focus Z-Tech that have been scrapped, but essentially it is the same horn, and for a fraction of the price. So I got both of these for about £43, which is cheaper than one horn before that with Ford. Now I just need to take the bumper off, so join me in doing that, and hopefully, because she's not working, but hopefully this sorts it. I'm pretty confident because I know it is the horn, and when I gave it to the garage, they're like, yeah, the horns definitely aren't working. And I was like, yes, I did good. Anyway, onto the bumper. Right, so first thing first, fatty little battery. We're going to disconnect the old terminal, just so I don't get anything by disconnecting the headlights. Don't really want like any codes or anything silly, so it's just easier just to disconnect it straight away. And then we'll be working on, you got to take both headlights out, and it's literally bolt, and then there's a connector down there, and then rinse and repeat, bolt. There's like a connector hidden just down the back, which you just pop off, and then there's, I want to say 6 on the front. That's the thing, and 6 on the front. You just sort of pop these torque screws off. That looks alright. And then gonna pop these ones off in the wheel arch, and then there's a one up here, and then Bob's uncle should come off. We'll just take the old positive off, turn off, and we'll just start working on these. They're actually, no, that one looks a bit mid corroded. They're not too bad. It's coming out nice and easy. I've just stuck a torque bit in the end of a ratchet, and hopefully, fingers crossed, all should go quite well. So nice and simply, horn lights are out. Horns down there somewhere? Good question. I just know they're down behind these bumpers somewhere. Well, I know, so next stage we're just going to get the front bumper off. Hopefully not take too long. These took about 50 seconds. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Sweet, so we then had a bolt. Actually, no, these were like pop snap rivets. Essentially, let's pop them out. And there was a Torx bit in here. No, pop snap rivet in there, Torx bit in there, Torx bit in here, and then right underneath here, somewhere. Oh, right underneath here, there was another pop snap rivet that went in there. And that was the exact same on this side, although I don't think I've taken out, there's a Torx bit in here. It is, however, starting to rain, which is a bit sad. Hands down, worst part about working outside is just surprise rained out of nowhere. So that's cool. But it's only supposed to last like 10 minutes, and we got to get on. So can't stop. So bumper off, lovely. Horn. There's one in here which has a little plasticky clippy here, and a 8mm bolt in there, nice and easy. And then it's got this little bracket, and you just slide it on and off. That is the new one in. Unfortunately, the GoPro died and I had to charge it, so I missed that one. Then we come over to this side. Another horn, little connector. This one doesn't have a plasticky whatever, but the, not sure how well you can see it. If we go underneath, the bolt is right where my finger is. Nice one there. One bolt, little bracket, and that one is that one's a 10mm. So it's an 8 on one side, 10 on the other, which I thought was a bit weird, but easy done. So those are new ones in, and they work. So now we've just got to put the bumper back on, and then we'll catch up once that is done. Obviously, it's pretty much the same thing in reverse. I did skip on. Obviously, you have to take the bonnet release off, which essentially is, if you've used a push bike, it's just loosen this off enough to get it out and then pry it off. But yeah, so that's that done. I'm going to put the bumper back on. Obviously I can bring a video more detailed on taking the whole bumper off if anyone wants, but it's not actually too difficult. So I'm going to put it back on and then show you that it works while I'm going to go for a drive. Thank you. Okay, so bumper is back on. We're just taking it for a little test drive, we'll call it. No, actually, the bumper going back on was so much easier than taking off. I think it's because it wasn't the first time I was doing it. Like I knew where everything went, and it just went so smoothly. I actually had an MOT booked for today because the horn was supposed to get sorted on Tuesday. It's now Friday for contact, so it's a bit sweepy, sort of like 3 days ago, the horn, and then I was like, oh, I'll get it MOT'd on the Friday because I got time. But when the garage had the wrong horns and didn't do it, they said they wouldn't get the horns that they needed off Ford until like Friday afternoon, so about now, and it was booked at 4 o'clock. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to make that, so I pushed the MOT back. But ironically, I finished the horn and putting it all on with enough time to spare, so I could have still made it, but it wasn't worth risking it, essentially. I think all in, that took me 2 hours to take the bumper off, do the horns, and redo it, put the bumper back on. What is going on here? Yeah, so wasn't actually too bad a job. I mean, when you look at it, look at the car with the bumper off, it looks horrific. Like, it looks like you're doing some monster in-depth surgery, but it was actually really simple. I recommend, if you need to do something like that and you are open to doing it yourself, definitely give it a try. Everything went back in, which, you know, if you do start like work on your cars, or when I've been doing it on the bikes, I take all the panels off and you come back and you're like, why have I got more bolts than I shouldn't have these left over? But no, everything went back in, and it was, yeah, nice and smoothly. And I'm not going to do it now because I'm directly behind a car, but we have a working horn, and considering, I think when it was in for its service, Ford were like, yeah, that'll be 200 quid. I don't think it would have, because it would have been 140 for the horns, and they're definitely more than £60 an hour labour, for sure, and it's definitely more than an hour's worth of job, because they would have also done some investing, gone, no, yeah, it definitely is. And then, so I reckon they would charge me a bit more, and I think to get this done by the garage where I'd put it in, labour probably would have been close to a couple hundred quid. So I've saved myself, well, labour, yeah, I reckon labour will be close to a couple of hundred, horns for about whatever, so it could have been a 300 quid job. Because unlike the Volvos, where the horns are right at the front and nice and easy, you can change them out in about 5 seconds, I swear. But these weren't actually that bad, just seemed like it. And it's obviously very cold at the moment because it is February. Now, I say that, and then this video is going to come out in like March, and you're just going to see how far behind I am. No, because I don't want to inundate, because obviously I've been putting ones out with the Volvo and about all this stuff, so I'm a few weeks behind, but I think most people do that. But essentially, yeah, it's cold, it's winter, just coming out of winter. Car's saying it's 3 degrees, but we have a horn, she's working. I'll show you later, and yeah, I'll show you later. But result, absolute result, must say. 45 quid for the horns, off a vehicle recycler. I think I got the alternator that went in the red Volvo off these Gala, I think they're called Gala vehicle recyclers. And yeah, it's absolute class, and their customer service is incredible, because they don't, like, obviously I'd misordered because I was just not paying attention, and I just ordered 2, and I didn't look that I mistakenly already, like, I was like, put an offside one in, and then it was like, alright, yeah, go find the other side one, and then I was like, oh, offside again, and put it in, and just went click through on eBay, and was like, yeah, sound. Didn't actually look at what I was doing, and then I got a message, and he's like, are you sure you want it? And absolutely sorted it straight out. So it's nice to know that there are some decent people out there. So definitely recommend, if you need or are looking for parts for most cars, or just give them a look, see what they got, see if they got what you need, because like I said, these were a fraction of what I would have paid off Ford. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. It went actually pretty successfully, other than GoPro dying halfway through, and I couldn't find my tripod to mount it on, so I obviously was holding it and talking to you. I would have ideally liked to have put it on my tripod and just worked and you just watch me, but I couldn't find it this morning, and I only finished work at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I needed to get up and use the daylight while I could, so we moved. But hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you made it this far, thank you, well done. Hit that like, subscribe, drop us a comment. Let's get that YouTube algorithm going, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.